Hello, I'm CJ Wellerman, and in this episode, we reveal how the Islamic faith delivered victory to Hamas in Gaza, a victory that will soon deliver Israel its ultimate defeat. But first, please remember to like and subscribe to our show. Now let's get into it. Here's a promise I make to you, our subscriber. I, CJ Wellerman, will delete this channel from YouTube if the Israeli occupation of the Palestinian territories survives another decade, to reach into the year 2035. That is, of course, Israel hasn't pressured YouTube into deleting our program a long time before then. A potential reality that is not all that far-fetched, given the Modi regime banned our channel in India after we revealed its human rights abuses against Muslims in Tripura. But indeed, we are talking about the governments of India and Israel here, two regimes that have perfected the business of silencing and deleting their critics. This is what you do when the truth doesn't corroborate your criminality. And with that said, I'm extremely confident I will never have to delete this channel. And the simple reason for my confidence is this. It's the manner in which the Israeli military suffered a humiliating defeat in Gaza. Israel lost because its strategy hinged on eliminating resistance leaders, believing their assassinations would fracture Hamas and incite rebellion from opposition groups within Gaza, which is why Netanyahu proclaimed victory is near when he killed Yahya Sinwar in October of last year. But for Israel, victory never came, and an anti-Hamas rebellion never materialized, despite Israel placing no limits on its savagery and brutality, having dropped 85,000 tons of bombs on Gaza, the equivalent of 6 atomic bombs, on one of the most densely populated territories to inhabit this planet, killing upwards of 100,000 Palestinian men, women, and children, while leaving hundreds of thousands more permanently injured and traumatized. Israel has turned Gaza into a barren wasteland. It will take decades for it to recover. It will take even longer to forget and forgive. And throughout this wanton destruction and slaughter, Netanyahu promised continued military pressure until complete victory, while vowing to crush, destroy, and annihilate Hamas and other resistance groups. He said they would surrender. But Zionist hopes were dashed the moment that Hamas fighters emerged from their tunnels during the first hours of the ceasefire, with Palestinians celebrating them as conquering heroes. This is what the first of many Palestinian victories looks like.
شعورك وانت بتهتف لكتائب القسام
الفرحة والفخر
كل الفخر هذه صفقة السعد. هدوا الدور وهدوا البيوت وقتلوا الاولاد ولا حاجة. هم علموا اسرائيل وعلموا امريكا. هدول بحاربوا العالم كله قاعدين، العالم كله بحاربوه. وانتصرنا باذن رب العالمين وحنبنيها اجمل من الاول باذن رب العالمين. الناس بتقول لك كتائب القسام دمرت غزة. كتائب القسام فخر لغزة. احنا مع كتائب القسام قلبا وقالبا. لو كتائب القسام دمرت غزة كانوا هدول اهل غزة ما لقيتهم الشارع، كان شردوا. احنا قاعدين هلا حماية كتائب القسام، زي ما هم حامينا وحامين عرضنا، احنا حامينهم بإذن رب العالمين.
In Israel, the mood couldn't be more different, where the country's leaders stink of defeat and failure. They are now war criminals on the run, as soldiers are harassed and threatened with arrest and deportation from foreign countries. Adding to Zionist woes is the record number of countries that now recognize Palestinian statehood, which has flipped global support for Israel's criminal occupation on its head. This has happened because the entire world got an up-close and deep look into Israel's soul. And what it saw will shock them for generations. Because you can't unsee genocide, and nor can you forgive those who gleefully carried out the mass slaughter of innocents. Today, Israel is being choked to death via economic, diplomatic, and cultural isolation, causing its economy to collapse and Jewish citizens to flee the country forever, with no Jewish person living in Europe or America today wanting to replace them by relocating to the Zionist state. Its future has never looked so uncertain, because without a permanent and steady influx of foreign Jewish migrants, Israel is doomed. And it's now already experiencing catastrophic demographic decline, a reality exacerbated by growing American support for Palestine. Palestinian resistance and victory have taught the world so much about the religion of Islam. It taught Europeans and Americans that no matter how much the Palestinians suffer, they never lose faith in each other and God Almighty. They constantly remind themselves that despite enemy efforts to capture, kill, or exile them, that Allah knows best because Allah is the best of planners. These are people who have lost everything: their homes, neighbourhoods, loved ones, pets, schools, hospitals and mosques. But despite these incalculable and irreplaceable losses, they never lost their humanity, dignity and hunger for liberation. Their defiance and optimism lives beyond our recollection of human history and understanding, remembering that they did this on their own, with nobody coming to their rescue. They were forsaken by the United Nations and ignored by the Arab League, while Israel received billions of dollars worth of military assistance from the world's #1 superpower. I mean, Hollywood loves an underdog story. Therefore, it would be smart to produce a film on how Islam helped the Palestinian population of Gaza overcome overwhelming odds to deliver the region's most powerful military a shock defeat. You simply can't defeat a people who are willing to die fighting for their right to freedom, fighting for their right to live in peace and free of foreign occupation. You can't defeat a people who can happily absorb your best punch and then rebuild bigger and stronger.
مخيم جباليا نبث لكم وقف اطلاق النار على مدينة غزة. الحمد لله وقف شلال الدم. طبعا زي ما انتم شايفين الدمار اللي في مخيم جباليا فيش ولا دار واقفة، وبنقول لكم بدنا نعمرها وترجع احلى من قبل. واهم حاجة انه انتصرنا انتصار، وهينا رجعنا خاوة على مخيم جباليا، والوضع عايز كفى غصبا عن الكل، وهينا في مخيم جباليا وعاشت المقاومة.
President Kennedy said that the hardest enemy to defeat is the enemy willing to die on the battlefield. And no fighting force is more unafraid of dying than the Palestinian resistance. What Hamas understands is that victory in asymmetric war is not achieved by firepower or the capability to bomb targets from safe distance. It understands that a superior military can only succeed if it crushes the will and spirit of its weaker adversary. By this measure, Israel's military campaign was a total and abject failure. Its final direct engagement with Hamas resulted in the deaths of 86 Israeli invaders who were overwhelmed by the bravery of the Palestinian resistance. No matter which way you slice and dice this, the future for Israel looks increasingly grim. Sure, it wiped out 100,000 Palestinians while creating 38,495 orphans, kids who will grow up without their parents and grandparents, and in many instances, without siblings. But they will grow up idolizing Hamas fighters and leaders. Their posters will cover their bedroom walls, meaning Israel has succeeded only in creating 38,495 more resistance fighters from this demographic alone. For now, the Palestinians pray. They pray that the ceasefire holds. They pray that the world will help them recover and rebuild. And pray that one day God will give them strength to finish the job of vanquishing their occupiers forever. And we will be here to report every step of this journey. But that's all the time I have for today. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and we kindly ask that you please support our effort to expose and confront injustices in the Muslim world by becoming a member of this show at patreon.com/CJWerleman. We can't produce, sustain and grow this show without your help, and we offer exclusive benefits to those who do. But for now, good night, good morning, wherever you are, and stay blessed.